Jen has been, trying to move to Austin for a long time, but because no, I'm being serious. When you move,
Texas won't stamp her passport.
no, she ain't white enough.
Wow. I've only shot one kind of gun, two kinds of guns, so I'm ruled out.
And he wasn't a weapon. He was study. No, I will not go into that. I will not go into that. I lost my train of thought. Anyways, I can understand how difficult it must be to make a move such as this. Uprooting yourself where you've been for so many years, a home that you've created with all kinds of things, and having to put all of that into boxes and shipping all of that to another state, thousands of miles away, and still preparing the house that where you were a person, where you love, where you created a home with your husband and things like that. It must be really tough, and I'm glad that she continues to stop by here with us as she makes this transition and ready for that long journey into a new adventure, a new life. So we're going to conclude the evening with Janet. She's going to read a poem that she said that she hasn't read in public. And I'm very pleased that she's doing it here with us. So let's get up for Miss Janet Kuypers.
And this was written during the Bush presidency.
Which one?
The W. It was during.
You better get that Texas thing to go over.
Yeah, I should know the W thing. So.
Otherwise, they're going to hang your ass from the tree.
It was written in '05. This is called Fitting the Mold. He told them repeatedly that the government had to get an employee into this division, so Gerald was willing to sit in Stefan's office, and as he got the speakerphone on, they started conducting telephone interviews. Knowing that their persona of a person made a difference in public speaking for this branch of the government for this position. So, Stefan dialed the first number and started the first interview. Gerald listened and heard the first applicant discuss how he understood government spending in education, health care, helping the poor, paving roads, keeping water safe to drink, fighting pollution and the like, but he wasn't in favor of money going to religious groups or even helping corporations who had previously failed so miserably. He said he was against the expansion of the Patriot Act. That's a blow against him for this government position. But he was in favor of holding the military responsible for illegal acts committed while in service. That's another strike against him. To close the phone interview, Stefan asked what religion he was, and the first applicant said confidently that he was Jewish. And after he gave his answer, Stefan thanked him and ended the interview. With the phone offline, Stefan said under his breath, "Well, we'll have to find someone else. We've got 2 more phone interviews." Then the second man answered the phone, and when he did, Stefan immediately started asking questions, and this new candidate had a lot of interesting opinions. He understood that taxation existed to secure their view of a good society, but people who are taxed can't control the money that's spent if it's spent efficiently. And he also made a valuable point about nothing guaranteeing that that people are actually correct in assuming what they want is actually what they need. Americans, through taxation, display faith in the government to accomplish what they need. Gerald listened to this interviewee thinking that this person could be molded into whatever they needed for this new position. And not knowing what he'd say about the military, Stefan guided the questions to the military, and he responded by saying that a common defense is the most enduring and universal symbol for all successful human societies. Treaties and alliances effectively stop people from continuing to build their arsenal. So he was also in support of finding more allies after the wars Bush talked us into. But if it cut our costs as well, I guess that makes sense. So Stefan closed the interview asking what religion he ascribed to, and he replied that he was Muslim. Gerald and Stefan both looked at each other with their eyes wide open when they heard this. So Stefan asked if he was Muslim from birth. No, he replied, I was raised Christian, but I became Muslim when I was probably about 25. Oh, well, thank you, Stefan said, thanking him, and thank you for letting us know. And he graciously thanked the both of them. So Stefan was there to end the interview, and they hung up the phone. Stefan then looked up at Gerald. Well, he finally said. Yes, Gerald answered. I don't think that would work out well for us, Stefan said. I don't know what the ramifications would be, Gerald answered. Well, one more interview to go, as Stefan looked at the last application and dialed the last phone number. Before Stefan dialed that last number, he said, well, this one's a woman. Well, we should listen to her anyway. Gerald pointed out that if the president can bring a black woman into his cabinet, this might not be a bad thing. So Stefan relented and dialed the phone. After greetings, he started asking her questions, and she answered honestly, though she tried to back up every answer with facts and details that made her answer seem like the most plausible choice. Sorry, lost the page. She said that even though she was a woman and in a minority, she didn't believe in laws to assist women or people in minorities with jobs, because people should only be hired on merit or talent, not on the color of their skin or whether they're male or female. She believed taxation was appropriate to keep the society functioning, even though some are unwilling to pay higher taxes while wanting more things done for them. She then pointed out that these same people who want to gamble all of their money away at casinos, this made her wonder why gambling is not more prevalent and taxed heavily so that the government could get money for work that was needed in the actual system to be done. Stefan asked her about the military, and she responded by saying that war is always a gruesome thing. People are realizing that now because television cameras are now on the front lines showing them the details of the gore. But one thing she noted was that the Gulf War, when the first Gulf War was going on in the early 90s, though it wasn't technically a war, people always use the term war flippantly, even though it's a conflict and an invasion, but they'll use it as a war even though Congress is to declare a war, and they haven't declared one since World War II. But she noted how there was such a staggering ease that America had in attacking the Middle East. Fewer casualties were there, and how a lot of amazing technology was used to fight this first Gulf War. The country is filled with amazingly intelligent people, she said, and that intelligence will keep our injured numbers low when in battle again. Approaching the end of the interview, Stefan remembered the first prospective employee talking about keeping the government away from religion, so he asked her what she thought of the separation of church and state. She pointed out that even though there's nothing in the Constitution that declares a separation of church and state, she also knows that there are many people in this country who aren't Christian, who have to deal with Christian holidays and churchgoers imposing their Christian mentality. All she heard was silence. She knew this Christian interviewer didn't like her non-Christian answer, so she tried to fill the silence with justification. Since this country is a melting pot, she said, well, the people have to accommodate different languages of citizens for years. People should also be able to accommodate different religions as well, or even atheism. I see, Stefan said. I'm not saying that Christianity should be out of the government, she said. It's in our government's roots. I know full well that most people who founded this country were Christian. And the thing is that they didn't want a government-sanctioned religion forced down people's throats. People who complain that the separation of church and state exists, they don't have a problem with using our money when our money says, "In God we trust." Stefan noted her beliefs about the inclusion of religious phrases in money, so he asked, what about the inclusion of "under God" in the Pledge of Allegiance? Well, she said, I believe it should have remained there if that's the way it's always been. But then I found out wasn't always that way. From the best I can gather, FDR added "under God" to the pledge to show how us Americans were better than those godless communists. Does that mean we should pull the added phrase out now? She asked. The invocation of religion in Bush's cabinet does make this Middle Eastern attack more like a holy war, whether or not anyone wants to believe it. But instead of pulling out those two words, why do we have so much anger from a lot of Americans? Why can't we just let children who are opposed to saying "under God" just not say those two words when reciting the pledge and leave it at that? We can't get along as a country if everyone is complaining about the little details. People have different beliefs in this country, and one of our saving graces is that we're allowed those differences to help us thrive. Stefan was coming around to what she was saying, and when he looked up at Gerald, he saw him smirking at the sense in her comments. Well, thank you very much for your opinions in this interview, Stefan finally said. Just out of curiosity, what religion are you? Why do you need that? She asked. Well, Stefan was cut off. You're not supposed to actually be allowed to hire based on religion. She cut in. Oh, we're not, Stefan answered. We were just talking about religion, that's all. She knew he was expecting her to answer. She panicked. She knew he was a Christian. She knew they wanted a Christian in this job. Everyone in the government has to fit what they see as the perfect American mold. She knew she'd be flat out rejected for a job after she told him she was an atheist. Her mind started reeling. She was born Catholic, but she learned to think for herself as she grew older, and she just knew better. Her morals were very Christian, and all this was flashing through her head in about 1.5 seconds, so she finally answered, I'm a Christian. Oh, Stefan answered. Well, what denomination? Excuse me? She asked, trying to steal herself a little more time. Oh, what denomination? Catholic, Protestant, Lutheran, Baptist? Just wondering what church you went to. She gulped. I was born a Catholic. Ah, keeping company with the president, Stefan said. No, I'm not a Roman Catholic, but Catholicism does make a good portion of this Christianity in the country. And they both laughed in agreement as Stefan started to close the interview. After she hung up the phone, she thought about how the cards are stacked against women. And then again, they're stacked against you if you're anything other than an Anglo-Saxon male. Sorry blacks, sorry Latinos, sorry Asians, sorry Native Americans. But now, she was seeing that the cards could be stacked against you if you're not a Christian. Sorry Jews, sorry Hindus, sorry Muslims, sorry atheists, you're screwed too if you're not fitting the mold. She almost felt like she needed to take a shower after having to lie. Oh wait, she didn't lie, she just didn't reveal the entire truth. Then she realized that if she got the job, she'd have to get used to covering up the truth all the time.
Let me get a photo of you because God knows when this woman's going to actually leave. All right.
That was good.
Who knows what for?
Janet, thank you very much. Very poignant statements there. And so I am very, you know what, I'm very glad that you finished the evening with that piece, because it allows us to kind of you know, mold it over and let it play in our heads as to how in a country that spews democracy liberally, and yet there's still a whole bunch of tyrants all over the fucking place. So I think